This might be the world's most misunderstood country. Nonetheless, I think slowly we're beginning to understand that the stereotypes we have might have fit another era, but like so much of our foreign policy, they don't fit the reality of the modern age. The Iran deal fundamentally changes geopolitical strategies and geopolitical approaches. It reorders the world. I think it shows us that the pieces on the global chessboard are not nailed permanently into place. They can actually be moved around.
It's remarkable how quickly the U.S.-Iranian relationship is developing here. It just did one thing. It stopped Iran from getting a nuclear bomb. But realists in the American security establishment are looking at this nuclear accord as the gateway, as the opening to these other conversations with Iran.
Iran currently has a middle class that constitutes about 60% of its entire population. If this deal is successful, and if the sanction relief comes through, and Iran grows with a relatively moderate rate of 5% a year for 10 years, Iran's middle class in 10 years will be 85% of the population. I don't think you will easily find a country that has an 80% middle class that will seek to play a destabilizing role, that will be a negative actor. I think the prospects are far greater that a country at that stage of development will be an anchor for stability.
When a country has almost 60% of its population are under 30, those economic impacts are going to be even more crucial. Iran is such a disproportionately young country. It's such a disproportionately technology-orientated country. It has one of the highest rates of internet connectivity in the Middle East. And those two factors combined are incredibly exciting.
We can learn from the experience of the past. Any effort to build a security architecture that is built on the exclusion of major powers is doomed to fail.
We need Iran to stop the continuing collapse of the Middle East. It doesn't mean that having Iran engaged in these conversations is necessarily going to reduce these conflicts, but it's clear that not having Iran in these conversations will prevent us from stabilizing these conflicts.
I think we're seeing a tremendous rearguard defensive action on the part of Khamenei. I think he's throwing a lot of bones to the IRGC in particular, and unfortunately to the IRGC's intelligence division, which is the one that is arresting and holding Americans. There are reports of another Iranian American who's been picked up recently.
Part of the motivation for these arrests has been a desire on the part of hardliners in Iran to make Iran look bad in the West. They want to give ammunition to their counterparts in Washington. They are trying to provoke us, and I think to a certain degree they're going to be successful.
I was struck by something that President Rouhani said. He said that the U.S. and Iran have to learn how to manage their differences. And I thought that was very important. Not overcome their differences, not resolve their differences, but develop a way to manage them so that we reduce the possibility of conflict between the two countries. And where we have overlapping strategic objectives, we can work together. That's the trend.
The Iran deal gives us new options. It doesn't necessarily mean that we change our old alliances. We certainly are not going to do that overnight. But it gives us new options, new ways of approaching regional problems, and a way of seeing them from a different perspective that we didn't really always take into account before.
The one ray of hope I really have in all of these conversations is this deal changed the game for everyday American people. It really showed the power of everyday people and their ability to push Congress on a foreign policy issue and win.